like sometimes I just turn the camera on, and I think, oh damn camera, yeah, now it's gonna change, and they're gonna get all, and then I got to think. Now I'm thinking that like I got to be this stupid interviewer, because I always sound stupid when I listen to myself and the questions I ask,
Yeah.
and I think, well, why the hell did I come up with something smarter than that? You know, so
this
where?
is,
Let me ask you a question.
yeah, right.
Where does your poetry come from?
Well, it is for me the greatest mystery. I am my best audience because it amuses me the most, because sometimes a poem is a response to a long meditation on how things are, or a troubling aspect of just being alive, and then it'll be other times something just shows up. And an example of this is this poem. I had a dream, and I call it love letters because there's a lot of letters in it. And it goes, I met an ex-girlfriend in a dream. Her initials were BB. This is the song she sang to me. I sleep on a bed that makes no vowels, no oohs and ahs, nor you and I's, just constant consonants and many Y's. So I love the I sleep on a bed that makes no vowels. Like I couldn't make that line up. That's like a metaphor I wouldn't imagine. And then it's explained to me about no oohs and ahs nor you and I's. And to me it's just, that's sweet poetry. It's got this inner meaning. I didn't struggle to make it up. I didn't think, how can I make a poem about an ex-girlfriend? I wasn't even thinking about her. And it just come to me, this dream, and then you wake up and it's like this little package of words are like, those are mine.
Mm-hmm.
I can share that, and everybody's got this broken heart, and maybe you think that maybe she wishes she didn't break up with you, and that she doesn't have as good a passionate life as if she stayed with you, you know, and had a different life. And anyway,
Yeah,
that's where that poem come from.
Yeah.
Anyways, I get lots of ideas like that, and they mostly, unusually enough, rhyme. I have a lot of rhymes, and it's kind of, that pleases me too. When I met Yvonne, it was at a hostel in Guatemala, and there was a circle of campers around, and I've been struggling with this problem of duality, and I noticed how beautiful blonde girls would look up and with great love and wonder at handsome dark-skinned men, and vice versa. And I wonder too at like how the rich could hold on to their power and their wealth and somehow seem to bend the world their way, and yet poor mothers would be on their knees in front of churches looking up to crosses and gargoyles on top of the building. And I just wondered about all this insanity to me, this crazy world, like all these opposites were attracted, and I got this answer to this dilemma. And it's not much of an answer, but it was poetic. And for me, I went out to the group of campers after I wrote it, and I shared it, and I met Yvonne, and I told her this poem. So I wrote this in Panahachel, thinking about duality. And this one starts off, it goes, angels look up to darkened skies, and demons look down from their perches on high. Black is white and truth is a lie. In every hello there is a goodbye. Don't look for reasons and don't ask why. Angels fall to their knees and cry. Demons spread their wings and fly. Up is down, in is out, love is hate, hope is doubt. Death is life and old is new. Just play your part and speak on cue. Don't look for reasons and don't ask why. Angels fall and demons fly.
That's beautiful.
Oh,
that's,
thanks,
that's a really good one.
It's just, and I couldn't write that
That.
no matter how I tried. I couldn't sit down and take a pen and just go, I'm going to make some nice words that's put this all into. It doesn't even really kind of mean anything. It's just a lot of duality mentioned. But puts a package of emotions and questions and quandaries, and sometimes I think too, I get answers that are the opposite. Like I get a lot of humor, like I say, don't smile, don't be happy, or I don't know, just different things. Sometimes I think that the child in us responds very positively to a negative. So that poem says, don't look for reasons and don't ask why, angels fall and demons fly. I think maybe the poem's asking us to look deeply into why that's true. So it really continues to.
Well, I basically will say, well, where do they rise to? And then to me, nobody looks very, very, very happy where we are, because where I am is where we are.
So it's all hell, even for the angels.
Yeah, well, it's hell until heaven. You carry heaven with you, and so then you carry something different. And so that's what I'm here for, is to reestablish.
Well, like for me, where's the reward from the purity of a mother's heart praying for her child? And how come the evil, greedy, life-destroying corporate monsters have such free will?
But they don't. There's no such thing as free will.
Well, they're getting away with a lot.
Yeah, but then you're looking at it from your perspective. Of looking at thinking that they're getting away with it.
Whoa.
But if you were like, say, married to them, and you got this magnet that's your husband, and you get to know the real person, and they come home at night and they say, oh, this is really stressful. Looking after 100 different companies is hard on me. It's not that easy, and so it's a hell of a life. So to be famous there or to be rich there is hell. Is more hell than we got. We don't have that responsibility.
Yeah, well,
of 100 companies.
I wonder why people like Trump even care to be leaders.
Why would they want to do that? I think that too. That must be horrible. Your whole family gets thrown into this snake pit.
You have to be probably because of his fame and power and money already, he was under such security and loss of life, he didn't think it mattered whatever life left. Plus, well, he always, is like one more money wants more money.
Yeah, but money wants power.
Well, it's kind of like what I was saying.
But is there a true intent? Could there be a true intent? But you'd have to have the right action.
Well,
with the intent.
Is there part of Trump that is God?
Well, no. There's all of Trump which is God.
Yeah.
Because everything is God.
Well, if everything is God, then all of the struggle is almost useless. It's just entertainment.
Oh, well, angels fall and demons rise.
I know, it's just drama.
So the angels are coming to earth and the demons are getting thrown out.
Well,
as if they never were, because they never were. It was just a drama unfolding.
I'm going to tell you the second poem I put in the CBC Poetry Contest, which they threw away. This one's called Bone Digger. And this poem I didn't make up either. I wrote the first line. I was sitting up on Hornby looking for a drum party that didn't really show up, but I was there. And the first poem line that came till it was a new moon, which is unusual to go drum on a new moon. But I went all the way up from Victoria to Hornby to look for a drum jam on Little Trib Beach. That didn't happen, but this poem happened, and it's called Bone Digger. And the first line I wrote, and I don't know why I wrote it, but I wrote, "There was no moon out, and I felt so all alone." And the words kind of just came to me. It says, "There was no moon out, and I felt so all alone, so I went down to the graveyard to get myself some bones. I took a shovel and I dug a hole real deep. What I saw there that night would have given you the creeps. I took all those bones and I put them in a bag. What was left of the clothes was just a rotten pile of rags. I took home those bones and I washed them really clean. It was kind of gross, if you know what I mean. I wired up those bones and I put them back together. Then I hung them out on the porch so they could hang out in the weather. Now when the wind blows, it rattles all those bones, and it makes me feel so happy, for now I never am alone."
Oh boy. Oh boy. That's a visual. Yeah.
I don't know what bones or have anything to do with anything. It's I think it's an entertaining ballad, so I like it a lot. That's cool.
Yeah, I like that. I like
Okay.
a couple. I like a couple. You come up with some really good things.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I remember certain things, and anytime I say them, remember you saying, "Oh, you get over yourself," or at least you brought it home to me.
Well, you know,
Get over yourself. Get out of the
there's
way.
a lot of inspiration that happened between you and me and Jonathan when we rose up against to do battle, and I miss Jonathan for those reasons.
I know, and he's being driven over the end.
Well, you know, I've come to look in retrospect of a lot of my actions, and a lot of it was like because I was coming from broken. I was really committed to my family. 14 years. I got a divorce. I hit my wife. I fell apart. I went on a road trip that took a year. I met Yvonne, and then I lived with her now for 25 years. But I was a different person 25 years ago. Like, you know.
Yeah, well, we right. I know. I look at me, and like I said, I didn't know I'd be this today. Yeah, I didn't know, and I wouldn't do what I did then. Now, if I'd only known, but we never had true teachers. We had all these bad teachers, and so I try and find a good teacher. And I go wherever I had to go, I try and study it.
Do you know Greek mythology a bit? You know Icarus?
Yeah, it's flying to the sun.
Yeah. This one's called the Song of Icarus. Let's see if I can remember it. My wax wings are melting fast. In the race, I've come in last. High in the sky I have soared. The bull of truth has been gored. They shall come upon my broken wings. They shall see what made me sing. The illusion of separateness I have survived. I've flown across our great divide. I have learned one simple song. Love well and love long. That's the Song of Icarus.
Yeah, that's good.
The illusion of separateness I have survived.
Yeah.
I've flown across our great divide. I like that line a lot. It's a lot of all that oneness poetry I used to write. I told you I threw it all away. Mm-hmm. The Song of Icarus is like a pocket of that. It's like it killed me to find this out, but I did.
So when you think of like the Great Divide,
yeah,
would actually be a perpendicular. It'd be like a cross.
Yeah.
With each interior angle being 45 degrees.
You cannot imagine how I think about this. I'm going to show you a video before I go tonight, okay? Yeah. Like, I tell you about puzzles and things. Like, I have 3D things. The greatest thinker, the Snelson guy I told you about, that can make things without touching themselves. He invented the term called tensegrity. And Buckminster Fuller even robbed him of some of his basic ideas that made Buckminster Fuller who he is with geodesics and the geodesic domes and stuff. It was in part from Kenneth Snelson, who was one of his students.
Yeah.
He even took one of Kenneth Snelson's sculptures and put it in the Museum of Modern Art under his own name. And Kenneth Snelson called up the curator. I've talked to Kenneth Snelson. Buckminster Fuller is dead. But I can email and talk to Kenneth Snelson to this day. He's a really cool guy. Anyways, he's got a great website too with all his art and everything. And he called up the curator. This is the New York Museum of Modern Art. This is a big museum. He says, excuse me, that piece of art in there that Bucky's got his name on, I made. I'm his student. And they had to, that's a record. They had to take that. He had to take Buckminster Fuller's name off and Kenneth Snelson. Otherwise, nobody knows who he is, but I know who he is.
Yeah.
When I started my art and stuff like that, I kind of like found out who Snelson was a bit, and I started talking to him because of the internet, and he talked to me and he got mad at me. He says, no, that you're just stealing my ideas and stuff. I says, no. I learned from you, and I didn't know because history didn't tell me who you were, Kenneth. That I thought it was Buckminster Fuller's ideas, but I was taking all those ideas and I'm trying to grow on them, and I thought that's what we were supposed to do. And when we got to that level of conversation, he started talking about my designs, and he told me I was unique and that nobody else had thought like I had thought these thoughts. And to basically, you take your cross, okay, and then you make it hollow. And then you're talking about a whole nother dimension. It's almost like it sounds bizarre, but it's almost multi-dimensionalism. It's like it's instead of the cross, they're tubes, and the energy can flow through them. They're not solid. They're like it's in a whole different way of thinking. And by doing so, I came up with new creations. I came up with a new creation. I call it a hollow pointed octahedron. They have other hollow pointed things too. But instead of solids, these points are hollow. I got this in a dream.
Yeah,
Right?
and you.
I've got models of these that work.
They're not just tubes. You're just talking about.
I take the tubes and then I connect them through with elastic cord in this case.
Yeah.
And then they make like two pyramids put together. They make an octahedron. But it's not a real octahedron because the octahedron is like a cross with another cross going this way. It's three-dimensional, okay? We were talking about three-dimensional cross and stuff, right? So the cross, a real cross, is like this. It's like three crosses, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is two-dimensional cross. This is three-dimensional cross. Now, if you take that and you connect all those points, it makes like a pyramid on top of another pyramid.
Yeah.
It's like a cube,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's eight-sided. Okay,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
called an octahedron. Nobody before hollowed them out and connected it. In a dream, I got this, and I seen a cord could connect all lines like this, one single cord, make a knot, and then you have this thing. It's like a sculpture, all with pipes crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because of the cross like that, you can do one thing. It took me a while to learn all this, but it has an axis, and I could turn it inside out. Now, when I turned it inside out, it made like one of Snelson's sculptures in that it was like 3D thing, but the pipes didn't touch each other. So then it was like, this is a natural kind of thing. Like I used to make Snelson things too. I used to copy his sculptures and take my own takeoffs on them and stuff. And while I was studying that, I got this dream. I got a YouTube about it where I did the thing for the dragons.
You'll have to show it to me.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Anyway, so when you talk about these things about like crosses and energies and stuff like that, I'm big on all that. Like, that's a lot what Buckminster Fuller was too, like harmonizing things.
Right.
That's how you got a dome built instead of sticks straight up and down, taking the weight as old-fashioned as anything. You figured out through this tensegrity, you could make shapes and forms that are self-supporting, again, useful for space, but they're also economical for other reasons, and they're also clever. Like, it's pretty neat, like, mind thing to do, math on top of things to do. Anyways, it's a clever monkey thing to do. It's fun to do. And anyways, and it's a form of art, I believe, what Snelson does and what I do. And just because I'm not recognized doesn't make me a genius, but I have invented really new things. And Snelson wrote me an email, said nobody else did that. It was really a thrill for me when he said that. Because first he wouldn't even critique me.
You said he got mad at you though.
He wouldn't critique me because he thought I was copying him. And I proved that I had new ideas and that I didn't mean to. And I gave him great honor. Like I said, I'm going to call this piece an accidental Snelson because when you turn it inside out, it's got this sculpture that he might have made.
Yeah.
And he said he was flattered by that. He's an amazing guy. Like he parks around the world. He's got like towers of his, and they just start with one single piece coming up, and then they grow with cables and pieces, and it's pretty neat. They're really stable, and again, they're going to be using his ideas in space and stuff because there's an economy to them, and there's a magic. Like, is the imagination saying, could I build something if it didn't touch something? It's like saying, how big a building could I make just with rope, right? Like it's like very limited consciousness thing, and then it comes apart. Like people are starting to use this idea of tensegrity, which is kind of an example of like a sailboat. It's like you have like the mast, which is rigid, and then the cables and everything tightens up, and then you have like this structure that's a balance of the tautness of the wires and the strength of the mast, and so it comes up that our whole body is built a little like that, and like our muscles kind of hold our bones apart and stuff, and it's like by understanding that they're able to make our bodies better. There's a guy on Salt Spring that specializes in massage using theories of tensegrity in his massage about how muscles can be repaired and stuff like that. So there's a whole bunch of like, it's kind of like what Snelson does is raw art, but there is practical things from it. You know, there is like geodesics or something like that.
Well, see the application. So you look at it when you get an idea from art,
Yeah.
and then you look at the inspiration which created that art, and then you look at it, you find practical uses for that, and then that application becomes practical.
Mm-hmm.
So you apply it to your life. So you get the geodesic dome. At first, it's just an idea, and then it becomes like a geometric structure, and then it becomes a house.
Well, a little bit. It proves to me, like, you know, like when you go to AA or something, you say, you know, I believe there's a higher power. Well, I think there's some comfort for me to think that now and then some great power nudges me with a good idea, and that a good idea could be very important, like to our health or to our wealth. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, the good ideas.
Good ideas.
We need idealists with good ideas.
Yeah, I guess.
Visionaries.
But you know, you get kind of colored with age too, right? You just think it's just all a bunch of thoughts that don't really add up to a bunch of anything.
That's it. Just a bunch of thoughts.